So has Apple really gotten its mojo back? Bonawyn, what do you say?
It's part of it. Part of it. It's like, what is that movie, Goldmember, where the guy lost his mojo? So I think they do in terms of them actually kind of meeting and exceeding expectations in terms of service revenue, in terms of like iPhone in China. I think there were some positives there. I do think the overhang here is what is their AI strategy? And until we have that question answered, I think it's tough to really say that they truly do have their mojo back, and certainly in terms of them being a tech leadership and taking us to new all-time highs. So I think there's still a bit of a challenge there. I do think a lot of the overhang, though, whether it's China iPhone sales, whether it's the tariff-related things, I do think, $100 billion is a lot to ingratiate yourself to this administration. So I do think it's a step in the right direction, but I think it's a bit early to say that they're fully out of the woods yet, and definitely a reach to say that they've now reestablished themselves amongst the leaders in the Mag 7.
It's not nothing to say that the tariff overhang and the China overhang, though, are at least temporarily put to the side, Mike. I mean, those were two huge facets of the bear case for Apple, in addition to AI, which, of course, is the one outstanding issue here.
Well, I think it's one of the outstanding issues. I think valuation could arguably be another part of the issue. I mean, look, we're looking at a company that's trading around 31 times, so it's a couple turns richer than the S&P, 9% or so adjusted EPS growth year on year. That's pretty solid, better than 3% free cash flow yield and growing. That's also pretty solid. But then take a look at it relative to the S&P overall, and you're looking at numbers that are probably 12%. Is at least what it looks like year on year. So on a relative basis, it's hard for me to get super excited about it. I will say one quick thing about it, though, and that is that, Apple has a very sticky business. It's hard to get people who are basically in the Apple ecosystem to migrate away from it. And I think that moat does deserve a little bit of a premium.
I mean, I think you highlighted, Melissa, by pointing out that, yes, it's a big week, but of course the stock is still one of the worst performers among its key super cap brethren. And so it's both the good news and the bad news. To be up 13, 14% in the week, it's been very much a catch-up trade. But we know also that Apple's relative performance to the S&P 500 tech sector, we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of the peak. That was September of 2022. And the question is, can Apple ever make a new relative high when you have things like NVIDIA and Palantir and other very prominent names that are driving the performance of that sector? Apple is a lower beta stock. It's a more defensive stock. And it is, of late, a non-participating stock. So my hunch is to fade this move. It's a big move, and it doesn't change the facts.
Yeah. Tim, how do you feel about Apple today versus 3 days ago?
Well, we had a spirited debate last night, and my argument was there's no AI priced into Apple, and I still feel that. And I think if you think about Apple relative to itself, Apple traded at 34 times before there really was AI mania in markets. If you look at the rest of the tech sector, albeit some that have exposure to AI for sure, but whether you're talking about Google or Meta or Amazon or other members of the Mag 7, the fact of the matter is that Apple, as Carter said, had underperformed even those stocks. I think in a world where even you're moving sideways and you can make an argument that Apple either way, if the market is rallying, Apple needs to go there. The irony is that, of course, Apple this week is the reason why the NASDAQ made a new relative high on its own to the S&P. So he's right. Apple's done nothing. It may not ever make another relative high. But I like it more than I liked it 3 days ago. Tim Cook gave a masterclass on how to handle geopolitics. This is a stock that this was a fantastic quarter. Okay, pull forward. A lot of people had pull forwards. But the reality is that iPhone and a refresh cycle is something that at least is continuing onward. And it's not necessarily because of AI. I like Apple. I like it because it has underperformed. It's a stock that's been dead money for 3 years. And I do sleep well with the stock. So I think there's a lot of reasons to feel good about the momentum that's now in this stock. And the fact that, as you said, some of the uncertainty, China is the reason why Apple has lagged for the last 6 months. To me, it's not lack of AI, it's China. And I think this is very good news.